I can't see you.
I know. Hang on,
Oh,
she's
okay,
fucking
it's
with
recording.
it.
You're recording right now.
Yeah, we are recording. It notified you of that too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you kids, it's the Randcast, and we are doing it via Skype this week because your old pal Casey, Uncle Casey's a stroke.
I had to work.
The old phony. It's funny how he's got to work when he starts crushing a little ass again. I think it's a little suspicious.
And we're not talking about personal life, my personal life, the
The
podcast.
point I'm trying to make is it work or is it working that pooyah?
It's work, man. Work. It's the holiday season.
Are you festive?
I mean, kind of. I guess. I don't know.
How do you figure you're festive?
I'm not very festive. Do I partake in Christmas and Thanksgiving? Yes. Do
Yeah,
when I put up a tree for Christmas.
oh, you do. It's your idea.
Yeah, I like to put up a tree.
Oh, okay.
Even when I've lived by myself, I still put up something.
I'm a
That's about
fuck.
as far as it goes.
I'm kind of a fuck stick because ever since the divorce, I don't give a shit.
Really?
Yeah, I got fucked on a lot of holidays. I mean,
I tell you what, I think maybe the only reason I really do it is because I love the lighting that a Christmas tree gives off with the lights off.
why it smells like
I more or less just like it for the ambiance. I really could care less, but I really enjoy. I don't know because it's like a dimmed light. I don't like bright lights.
so. Is it a psychedelic?
For whatever reason, the way a Christmas tree lights a room, I really enjoy.
Is it a psychedelic thing?
I mean, I would leave the Christmas tree up all year long.
Why don't you?
I like Christmas lights. I don't know. You're right. Maybe I should just always have a fern. I should always have a fern in the corner of the living room with it um, dressed in Christmas lights.
You go out with like tinsel and that shit.
No, I mean, if I actually put up a Christmas tree, I will put ornaments up or whatever. But what I'm saying is I enjoy the lighting that it gives off. It has nothing to do with Christmas. I like Christmas, the Christmas lights,
It's
the way it
soothing.
lights, the way the room's lit with the Christmas lights. I really enjoy.
It's soothing.
It's soothing, yes.
What about the ornaments? You don't give a fuck, or you have any concern or attachment to the ornaments?
Not really, no.
Okay. What kind of ornaments do you put up? Do you have like the ones you made when you were in kindergarten and shit?
I don't know. I don't. No, I just had bullshit bulbs and all that.
Does your mom still keep any of that?
My mom does that. My mom will put up.
Oh, well,
She keeps that stuff.
so folks, I haven't talked to this prick in 6 days, which is weird. But I forgot to tell you, man. My fucking I'm all fucked up. My mom's cancer is stage 4 colon cancer, and that means fucking curtains.
Are you sure?
Yeah, unless God fucking really performs one of those old timey miracles, just a
What
question of time.
what did the doctor say?
Stage 4 colon cancer. They're
Did
gonna
he say?
try to. They're try. What they're trying to do is keep her alive via chemo and all that shit.
Well,
She's had two. She just had her
I
second.
do know. I do know somebody that had that type of cancer and actually got out of it. I went and spread into his bones and everything, and he still beat it.
How old the guy?
70s.
Yeah, it'll take a real miracle, but it's like a 14% chance she'll make it to 5 years.
It can be done.
Yeah, there's a 14%. Yeah, it's not good though. It's the point. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
can
I
be
know.
done, but it takes one of those fucking real miracles. Maybe she will be. That's the head trip. Is you factually you got that shit. like you said, that they know of someone too, and they're trying to cling on to that, and so am I. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking to her saying get preparing or anything like that. But it's just a head trip because you know what you know. Now I'm fucking scared.
Yeah.
Before I was jerky and nervous, but now I'm just scared and I'm tripping because, I don't want to lose them now. It's been a torrid, horrible road, but through recovery, real recovery, this is a really valuable relationship. It's like a real showing, factual proof about spirituality and all the shit that we learn in recovery.
Yeah.
And I can look at them and her especially and see different people today.
Yeah.
So it just got me shook, and the processing is I'm struggling with it because even when I'm not conscious of it, I'm still fucking processing.
Right.
But
Right.
still trying to be there and in no way, shape, or form being fucking negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's this chemo's a whole nother motherfucker because she's already losing her hair and she's not even two treatments in.
Right.
And I know that's gonna head trip her, but we try to laugh about it.
It's all you can do.
Yeah. I'm like, you want me to have Gianna make you a hairpiece? You know?
Yeah. I do
She's
the
like,
same thing. Well, I do the same thing with grief, and
yeah.
when I'm scared, I do the same thing. I try to. That's my defense mechanism too. I
Yeah.
think that's probably the best one.
I think you're absolutely right because
I know a lot of people that will, I mean, I mean, all my feelings, not just fear,
yeah.
anything I used to suppress with drugs and alcohol. So now I know you've been sober for 40 years, but, that's kind of now it's like actually having to deal with those feelings. I'm not downplaying. I know it doesn't make it any easier, but, it's that's a trip now. That's like it's kind of like for me, it's like the world is new again.
Yeah. Well, that's
Because
what's funny.
I'm
Because
dealing with I'm actually having to face my feelings and face my problems and.
well, that's what this is about. It's like at 41 years of sobriety, these things are still new. I mean,
Sure.
things come up that are new, but
Right.
that's
And you're
life.
right. You're right. You're right.
But the
But
gratitude part is, if something like this used to happen, Casey, I would blame God.
mhm,
And I'm not doing that now. I'm saying this is life. Life happens.
yeah.
And I need Him so I'm not a fucking asshole. But not just that, going beyond not being an asshole. Now I really want to be there, and not out of guilt, just out of, I guess, gratitude for my folks.
Well, and he puts these things in front of us to prepare us for something else or whatever his plan is.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe the things that have happened before have prepared you for this too. You
Yeah,
know.
it's really, man, this relationship has been just torrid.
Yeah.
And but it's always been, it's one of those fucking miracles. Like I said, it's proof that there's a fucking God. It's proof
Yeah,
to
I
me.
I believe I believe that too much crazy stuff happens. That
Yeah.
can't be just coincidence.
Yeah, no,
Whatever God is, it might be the aliens. I don't know. Maybe it's our interpretation of what
yeah,
the Bible is, us humans, but there's something out there
yeah,
that's pulling some strings. I believe that.
yeah. And they are just a really good example of uh spirituality and the program working, because there's lying, cheating, stealing, violence. They've worked through so much, and they love each other. They don't hate each other. They're best
Yeah.
fucking friends through all
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah. One thing I haven't come across anybody that because you have to have a higher power. I'm sure you've heard of some wacky ones, haven't you, through your 40 years of
Yeah,
people, whatever they have to cling on to find a higher power, like an
yeah.
atheist or whatnot. I mean, they have to find something, right?
Man, I've heard Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and
Mine's Dennis Condrey.
Dennis Condrey. That's a good higher power. Why are you so gay for Condrey, man?
I don't know, man. I feel like in the world of in the world of the the
My
wrestling
higher
world that
power is
the
Dennis
wrestling
Condrey.
world that I love, the Wild West, the one that doesn't exist anymore. I feel like he's like the most down low. I don't I don't even know how to describe it. He's like the unsung hero of the pro wrestling world.
I
Like
was
talk
just
about
thinking,
the ultimate carny.
like, why doesn't anybody do a podcast with him? Even Briscoe and
That's
Bradshaw.
how that's how over he is with me. He's that kayfabe still.
He's still kicking, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, Dennis, dude, Dennis, he's doing his own thing, man. He don't have time for this.
What? How do you?
The wrestling business died 20 years ago. That's why Dennis got out of it.
How do you know he's still kicking it and you don't have time for this? Do you keep in touch with him?
Well, why? No, I don't even know him, but I just assume that my
What's
higher power, my higher power is the lover boy.
is he? Is it, so? Let's tie this back into the holidays. So basically, Dennis Condrey is your kind of Santa Claus. You can't see him, but you know he's there.
Yeah. No,
All right.
guess who's coming down the chimney? It's Dennis Condrey in a bow tie with pink tights and his Midnight Express gear
And a big boner.
and a big boner. He's got a silver vest on with no sleeves, like a vest you wear for, underneath a tuxedo vest and a bow tie and his lover boy boots, and he comes down the chimney holding a bag.
Trunks
Imagine if you
going.
went to the mall to get your picture taken with Santa. It was Dennis Condrey sitting on a throne.
Is, is it? Does he have trunks on or nothing on?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, okay. But he has. It's evident he has a boner.
In my mind, Dennis wears his gear everywhere.
Do you think?
Like
So,
just Dennis. Dennis goes to the gas station in his gear. Dennis goes to the supermarket in his gear.
okay.
Dennis. Dennis goes to the holiday Thanksgiving dinner in his gear.
Why don't you go ahead and tell that your favorite fake news, but you believe there's no telling you any different. Dennis Connery and
It's
Phil Hickerson story.
it's not my story. It's Jim Cornette.
go,
It's Dennis's story.
go ahead and tell it though, because you know tell them this
Well,
is
you
that.
can go to if you want to hear the version of it, go to just Google or YouTube Steve Austin's podcast. Jim Cornette was on there a few years ago, and he told the story. Dennis Condrey and Phil Hickerson were a tag team in Memphis back in the late 70s, early 80s. This is probably late 70s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they played a very flamboyant gimmick. They walk that line of having homosexual,
Did they?
tendencies and whatnot. They used to do the spot where the one heel would, after getting bumped around, would beg off, and he would run over to his partner on his knees and hug him by the legs and behind the ass and everything. And they would play that. They would try to strike that nerve. I mean, that was heat back then. People really, it was legit heat.
I'm
So,
gonna
and then
search.
your what's that?
I'm gonna search and see if we can find any of that on video.
It's on. I mean, it's on YouTube. It's on
Okay,
Steve
okay.
Austin. Just if you want to just search it through Steve Austin's podcast.
No,
So Jim
no, I
Cornette.
mean the matches.
Oh yeah, sure, sure. You can find Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey. They worked there for a long time. Um, so that Tojo Yamamoto, your friend, uh, a mainstay in Memphis for probably 30 years.
Tojo was Memphis royalty.
He looked at Dennis and Phil kind of looked at him out of the side of his eye, like just wasn't too sure. Definitely thought they were lovers.
He doesn't
Um,
like that stuff anyway.
didn't like it, and he was definitely hesitant around him. So
Nervous.
one night in Louisville Gardens, Dennis was talking Phil and let's rib Tojo. He already thinks it's gay. We're gay. Let's give him something to really, sweat about. So this is what we'll do. In Louisville Gardens, you got the stairs that run into the locker room.
Yeah.
So when you're done working, you come out and
Actually, now that you mention, I'm picturing in my head. That's a pretty high stairwell.
Yeah, you come up those stairs. Yeah. So, anyways, Tojo's in the ring. He's working, and Dennis goes, "Phil, get on your knees." And when Tojo walks in, you'll be on your knees, and it looks like you're about ready to just go down on me.
Yeah,
and boy,
he'll
freak out. Yeah. So the bell rings. Tojo's coming. He's like, "Okay, Phil, get down on your knees." Phil's like, "Okay, I'll get down on my knees." He's like, "Now open your mouth up wide, like you're really gonna take it. Like you're really gonna take it. I'll even." So here comes Tojo around the corner. He's like, "Okay."
Basically, he's saying, "Work the penis."
Right. He's like, "Okay, Toad, here he comes, Phil. Get ready." Tojo walks around the corner, and Dennis grabs the back of Phil's head and shoves his dick all the way down the back of his throat.
But here's the thing, man. The first thing, all right, I know you love this story.
So I'm quoting it verbatim right now. It's not my story; it's Cornette's story. He does it. He tells it right. But he said that Dennis said that Phil's tongue felt like sandpaper. Phil's tongue felt like a cat's tongue. Phil freaked out. He chased Dennis out of the building and down the street 3 blocks. I guess they didn't ride together for a month after that. He was so hot. And Tojo came in. Tojo didn't know what to think because he already kind of, was suspect of him. And then that happened. But really, Phil was the one getting ribbed. I guess Dennis was ribbing Phil and Tojo.
I'm just surprised that right there didn't kill Tojo.
I can't believe Phil didn't kill Dennis. So you got to listen to it because it's funny, because the best part of it, in my opinion, is Steve Austin is like, he's dying. He's like, even after after that story's over, you can hear him on the audio, like just laughing. He can't even get through the rest of it for like the next 20 minutes. He's like, "That's the greatest story I've ever heard." And Jimmy goes, "Well, Steve, that's what you used to do back on the road, just to, keep your sanity." And Steve goes, wait up a second there, Jim. I know things can get a little tough on the road, but don't you think shoving your dick down another man's throat's kind of pushing the limits?
All right, so now
Steve goes, "That's the greatest." Steve thinks that's the greatest story ever told. So
what's funny is Steve would know Tojo. When he came in, it was Tojo. Yeah. Oh, he was so old, but he would, that character face, he'd once in a while pop up on TV.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, man, Tojo was like the fucking, not Christopher Columbus, but one of the first settlers, because he really was so responsible for so much in that territory, especially when it came to teaching people how to work. But anyway, my problems with it is this, and here's my problems with it. Number one, and you were there when I text or call the king?
I think you texted him.
I texted Jerry Lawler, and Jerry said he's never heard that story.
Yeah.
So, if anything, Jerry, that's the kind of shit Jerry thrives for, is to be, back then especially, look at how superior I am to these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And he also made it a point to know what was going on in the territory. That's one. Mm. 2, to get it down the esophagus or the esophageal area, he would have had to have half a boner.
I think he worked one up. I'm pretty sure.
But have you seen Phil Hickerson? Like, how could anybody work up, even if someone's gay interested in bears looking down at Phil.
That's hey. That's just a testament of what kind of professional Dennis Condrey is. What a
Uh,
pro. What a pro.
what a fucking pro. But
What a
then, man,
pro.
then though, Phil was not a pussy. You know, he wasn't a pussy. He was kind of a tough guy. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, maybe if he was green, to your point, if he was green, he might have put up with it. But I just
Yeah.
I don't want to believe it,
I
because
just that's
I,
that's what I'm saying. In my world, I sleep easier at night knowing that Dennis Condrey did those things and got away with them.
how could you have such a normal upbringing but really want to set your watch to something like that and
My
glorify it?
my hero my of all the people I could choose, to follow, so many great talents that, or just in life, I choose the lover boy Dennis Condrey.
Now, let me ask you this question. Were you man crushing on Connery before you heard that story?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm such a fan of his work.
So that
I'm
story just put him over the top as your number one.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I feel like because I know everything, it's like he's like the forbidden fruit because I everyone no one really everyone knows very little about Dennis. And
Yeah.
even Jim doesn't really dive into, he doesn't even tell that many great Dennis stories. Like Dennis, here's another story. Like he was I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing Dennis would probably, I know statutes of limitation, but I think Dennis was involved in a lot of things that nobody really wants to know about. Anyways, that is like, so the nights, like, he didn't work every night, whatever. Jim said that he would use on his night off, he used to just say, okay, babe, I'm leaving. And he'd go do whatever he did. And he, he would say, just go work in town. That was before cell phones. He'd just take his trunks and stick them in the sink and hose them off and bring them back home when he got back, like he had been working all night.
So also he would do that to on his old lady.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd
Wow.
say, "Okay, babe, I got to go to the town." There was no town to go to, but he would hose down his gear and bring it back later that night. That
Oh.
was a tough one. Yeah, man, we worked 40 minutes.
And you idolize
Yes, yes. I
that.
what's
um,
there that's
that being said, do you fantasize about being Dennis in that scenario?
oh yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Really?
it's
Um,
just it's not it's never going to be seen again. In my world, in my mind, that's the way the wrestling, everything, Dennis embodies what the wrestling business should be still.
well, Bobby, yeah, but I don't remember him jamming a wiener down anyone's throat.
I said Dennis.
Oh, I thought you said Bobby too. All
No,
right,
I mean, Bobby too. Bobby's part of the package. Bobby's just, two
guilt
different
by
types of,
association, or
that's
do you
what I mean.
think that?
That's what makes teams great. I think
Wait a minute. What
is
exactly makes teams great?
I think it's the conflict of personalities. Everyone's like, oh, you got to be a well-oiled unit and all that. I like it that two guys are two different guys, but they come together. There's more meat on the bones then. There's more story. When you
Okay,
have two different personalities that team up together, they come together to make a team. Bobby and Dennis are a little bit different, but I think that's what makes them great.
so you say Bobby would never jam a wiener down someone's
No,
esophagus?
no, no, total. Yeah, not his thing. But Bobby's a weird cat too. He has his own quirks. Bobby was the nicest guy that ever was in the private wrestling business.
Did you ever meet Dennis?
Yeah. No, I've never met Dennis.
Yeah, I met him
Of
a
all the
couple
people
of
I've ever met, of all the people that I have met and worked with, I've never had the pleasure of being in the company of the Lover Boy.
when I met him a couple of times at Windy City back when I started, but
Hmm.
he wouldn't even give me the time of day. But I wasn't up his ass either.
Oh, and by the way, he didn't even wear bow ties. He wore those handkerchiefs around his neck.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He worked with him sometimes.
Yeah, God, what a sweet look. But these guys could learn so much by watching Dennis, though.
But
He's
let
an
me ask you this.
incredible heel, incredible heel.
Oh, outstanding. I got the
I
you
just,
saw the match. I got the kids watching for this week. The students watching for this week is
yeah.
Dennis and Bobby against Robert and Ricky.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude,
So
it.
back to this, I got a question. The question is this: fast forward to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have the nuts to actually pull that rib off today yourself in Dennis's shoes if you were still working and given all the parameters that Dennis had to work with
I
the
couldn't do it. No, I
okay,
couldn't do
okay.
it. I just couldn't. I mean,
I just wanted to make
I, I
sure.
I couldn't. I just don't know if I could. I'm not a good enough worker. I'm not as great of a worker as Dennis.
So, but you
I'm
wish you so in a way you couldn't pull it off. You don't have the nerve, but you wish you could.
Part of me does, yeah.
That's kind of, do you think you need professional help or no? Are you happy with that part of your personality?
No, I've just come full circle that I just do not give a shit about anything anymore. Just
Okay.
don't. I don't care what people think, and I just don't care anymore.
So
That's what happens
so
when you get old. I just don't. Me personally, I just don't care.
can you imagine what would happen if Dennis pulled that rib today?
Oh yeah, he would be canceled, right? He'd be
Yeah,
arrested. He'd
with all
be
that Me Too.
that's rape.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't Me Too'd me for the farting.
Yeah, Dennis would have probably gone to jail for that.
Yeah, man. Tell people listening what happened last week when I did some commentary with one of our students, Jordan. How you fan the flames on my.
I just wanted Chinese food, and Randy's like, "No, I can't. It upsets my stomach."
Well, it's not that. I don't. It's not about the upsetting. I just am not popular when I eat fucking egg foo young.
You're not popular when you eat anything. What are you talking about?
All right.
I don't think it really makes a difference.
Anyway, I was lambasting that poor kid during commentary the whole time.
Lamb, lamb basted.
Yeah. So are you were but it was more than you just wanted Chinese food because you made comments. Get him, get him. He's got to cut his teeth.
Well, I really it was. I guess it wasn't really so much that I just wanted to get Chinese food. So I'm like, don't worry about it. Teeth cutting, teeth cutting. Come on, let's get Chinese.
And the end
So
result,
100% selfish on my part. I
I
did not care. I did not care about what Jordan was going to go through. I just really wanted Chinese at his chagrin.
would you describe to the listeners what it's like doing commentary with me after we've had Green Garden?
Well, it's like Anchorman or whatever. It's like, oh, what smells? It smells like Bigfoot's dick. Oh, it smells like a baby's diaper with Indian food in it, or
It's bad, folks. I don't know what's wrong with me.
smells like Bigfoot's dick.
It's just horrible. Sometimes I can't stand it myself. But in a way, I'm still secretly kind of like proud, like, yeah, I'm the alpha.
I guess.
I don't know what causes it.
Egg foo young. Why don't you just have something like I have, like shrimp and broccoli?
I thought you had chicken. Oh, that's just as bad.
I don't know. I think that's worse. You should probably just go with the shrimp and broccoli.
I love egg foo young.
I like when's didn't you used to get chop suey?
I don't know what I got, but I just know that I love their
Didn't you used
style.
to
I
just get new? Didn't you get something with noodles?
can't remember. No, no noodles. That was somebody else. That was
That's good.
Vine or Marcus. The lo
Yeah.
mein, I think.
Oh yeah, lo mein, shrimp lo mein. Oh yeah, that's good.
I wish I had a what do you call GoPro on my head. Tell people how I own the room when I walk in the Green Garden. How, from the call to the pickup.
Yeah, you should tape that.
Can you describe it or no?
I don't know. You come in like you own the place, I guess.
I tell my it's Mr. Wu. I tell him I lead them believe I want to be Chinese, and I say, "Goddamn round eyes, huh girls?"
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's funny, man. I act like I'm Chinese, like I'm part of their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And the one
Yeah,
loves me, but the other one hates me.
oh, really?
But what's your opinion?
I can't tell. I don't know.
The one that takes the money, she's really stiff with me.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I think she's just that way.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if it's just you. Maybe it's you.
I think she's on to me trying to ingratiate myself in the Chinese culture.
She doesn't want you to be a part of it,
No, she says, no way this motherfucker could be part of it, no matter how hard he tries.
no
And,
matter
and
how hard he tries.
yeah, and is he funny or is he fucking with us, you know?
Yeah, they don't. She don't like that.
No, the other one eats it like candy, though.
Yeah. Oh, see, she thinks you're insulting their intelligence.
That's what I think. She's leery, you know?
Yeah, I can see that because you're so over the top.
But the other thing is, though, what kills
Anybody else that would be that over the top would be definitely trying to rib him.
yeah, maybe she's the Dennis Conry of the Chinese people.
Yeah, it's not selling.
She's way up here while the rest of them are way down here.
It's the no sell oversell. She's no selling so much that she's actually overselling.
So you do believe that Dennis Condrey is you believe he is higher intelligence quota than the rest of the workers of that era?
Yep, there's only one on Mount Rushmore. There's only one head. The lover boy.
Oh my god.
There's one head, and then the rest of Mount Rushmore we've chiseled in Dennis Loverboy Dennis Condrey, just his name.
Speaking of that Mount Rushmore, who is on your Mount Rushmore? When you close
Oh,
your eyes, who do you see up there
Dennis Condrey, Dennis
in the middle?
Condrey,
He'd be in the
Dennis
middle with
Dennis Condrey. For
so
Dennis Condreys.
quadruplets, Dennis Condrey. That's it.
Yeah, four Dennis Condreys, all with his different looks throughout the years.
If you were running the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, would you have a giant inflatable Dennis Condrey?
It would be just 2 hours of going down Main. What is that? Broadway, New York, of just Dennis Condrey balloons.
Oh God! Uh,
I don't know. That's hard. My Mount Rushmore, but it depends on what you're asking. Like to me, the best workers, the ones that drove. To me, the only purpose, if you, to me, the best worker is the guy that draws the most money.
of
Period.
course, of
Now,
course.
there's guys that are in the ring, you know, that are amazing, and I look at it from a wrestler standpoint, and just the way they're able to tell stories and create. Now, that doesn't equal box office
Uh-huh.
necessarily. The
Right,
greatest,
from a
the
business run.
greatest. Yeah, I mean, just like I said. So whoever's ever drawn the most money, though, to me, that's the best. Whoever makes and draws the most money, that makes them the best worker, because that's the only thing it's supposed to be about. I don't care if you can't work a lick, but if 20,000 people pay to see you, then guess what? That makes you the best. That's
Well,
in my
let's.
book.
So Dennis, though, hear me out. This is not selling your idol or hero short.
Mhm.
But was he ever singles in a top drawing angle?
Don't know. I don't think so. Maybe not. No.
So why would that warrant Mount Rushmore? Would be like because he's why would that warrant him being on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, there's several. Like I said, there's different categories of Mount Rushmore.
Oh, okay.
Um, No, you're right. As far as best workers ever, if you want to just talk about box office, no, he wouldn't be on that one. Now,
Okay.
in my sick head, Casey's sick head, Mount Rushmore, then it's Dennis
That's what I want
Condrey.
to get to.
Oh, so like the real, the real, the real, the real Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. My like favorites. I don't know, man. You should. We'll talk about it next week because I got to think about these questions.
Okay.
That's
Well,
what
that's
we'll
a good
talk
one.
about. That's what we'll talk about next week. I'll have several Mount Rushmores
Okay. Okay. I'd love
because
to.
I got to think about that. Because as soon as that Mount Rushmore needs some thinking. Needs some. That takes some time
I'll
because
take.
like that. That's like the most who embodies the Wild West pro wrestling business.
Yeah, it
That's
fucks
kind of
me up
that
too.
Mount Rushmore.
Cause
Huh?
it fucks me up too because I love Bruiser, Crusher, and Boogie, but that's three heads. I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's three heads, man. That's what do I got? One or two left?
Four total.
That's what I mean. So I got one left. So see what I mean? It's like you said, it's gonna take some thinking.
Yeah,
Bruno's got to be there.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the category? I mean, I just Mount Rushmore, greatest ever. Yeah, I guess you could put Bruno, but I mean, Dennis wouldn't be on that one.
No, but you'll have Dennis on
He
because
would
you
be.
said.
He most definitely would be on the tag team Mount Rushmore.
But listen though, how much of that what he did allegedly did to Phil Hickerson in your mind does that elevate him more
Yeah,
than the
you mean
reality?
as far as putting him on the Wild West Mount Rushmore?
Oh, so the Wild West Mount Rushmore. Okay.
Yes,
Well, hell, man, this is fantasy life. We can have more than one Mount Rushmore.
that's what I'm saying. Like I
Okay.
can,
Okay.
you just want to give wrestlers all time. I think you got to put, man, just like generational talents. I guess you'd have to go. Who's the? I guess you'd have to put. I guess 50s, 60s. You got to put Thez, 70s into the 80s, Andre, 80s, Hogan, and then 90s, Austin. I
Where's
mean,
Jack Briscoe?
don't make it.
He didn't make it.
I mean, Andre probably drew more money than Briscoe in the 70s. If you're just talking about drawing money,
What about Johnny Valentine?
I don't think he outdrew Andre.
What about? Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard. Like, okay, like workers, like,
Forgot about Andre.
I mean, Andre's got to be on it. If you're just talking about box
Yeah.
office, nobody drew more money than him in the 70s. I don't
No,
think it's
no, you're right, man.
he's so as far as box office, so that makes him,
When I
he's
listen
got
to
him.
Yeah, when I listen to Briscoe and Bradshaw and they're talking with Jerry Jarrett, Bill Watts, and Greg Gagne, they all say, "Oh yeah." And then when Vince Senior gave us Andre for a month, that was a month of
Yeah,
sellout.
we didn't have to sweat. Yeah, I know. Who in the business, even at any point in the territories, whoever had that type of drawing power. I
Yeah,
think pre Vince, I think it's Andre and nobody else really. I mean, you could build a guy or the traveling world champion come in, you'd sell out, but who was an automatic guaranteed? Nobody was a guarantee like that.
you know
Like
what's
it was
amazing?
automatic.
My brain, the way my brain works is how can you replicate that in 2022? And you can't do it without Vince's TV, without someone being on there. But
Right.
Vince doesn't have an Andre himself right now.
Well, it's not. I think you'd have to go in a different direction because there's so many. The only reason why the reason why you just have to find what's different now. Like he was so specialized and so different than anything else. That was part of the. It was good that his difference was that he was 7'5". But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that was really what was a part of it because there's nothing else like him.
The
So I
hard
tell
thing
these
was,
guys, so I tell you these guys, whatever it is, you have to be different than everybody else. And Andre was so different. I mean, if
yeah,
he was different in a different way, I don't think he would have drawn as well. But I mean, that was part of it too, is because he
yeah.
was not overexposed. He
Nope.
was different than anything else. You have to, if you want to see anything like Andre, you have to go pay to see it right now because the rest of the year you're not going to see any attraction like that. That's
To see it live, yeah.
one of a kind thing. So for something to draw like that now, it has to be a completely one of a kind thing.
That's
You
my
know,
point, though, is that you couldn't do it without the media platforms that Vince has. Vince is the only one that has it.
yeah.
You know.
Also, we've talked about this before too. Andre did have that's why guys they get over. Guys can still get over, but they don't stay over as long as because of the overexposure in
Yeah.
2022 and even the last 10, 20 years. I
Yeah.
mean, guys had the luxury. Andre was able to stay over as long as he did was because he wasn't overexposed.
Hmm.
Even guys in the like Hogan had that luxury. If you wanted to see him, you pretty much had to buy a ticket to go see him wrestle. He didn't wrestle on TV unless it was a Saturday
Nope.
night's main event. That helps you.
Exactly.
That's there's got to be some mystique. That's the
Yeah.
part of the business too. There's got to be. You always. I feel like that's the problem with today. Is these guys not only are overexposed in their character, but how we know what they do in their personal life. We hear them
Sure.
talk like that was always part of the intrigue of wrestling was like you
Sure.
don't really know who these guys are. Like you don't. There was always something like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was always that. No matter even if you knew it was bullshit or whatever, but it's like these guys, like man, like there was always a mystique or an intrigue about them, and that worked to those guys' advantage.
Yep. Yep.
Now the guys, but I think the guys that do blur that line, maybe like a Bray Wyatt, like you still ask
Oh yeah.
questions. You still question yourself, like, man, is this guy still on the level or what's going on here?
Yeah. They don't use him
That's
every week
important.
in ring, right? They just do the promos every week, and then once in a while
Yeah,
in
I
ring.
don't know. I'm just saying his gimmick though allows you to, in your own headspace, ask questions.
Use your imagination too.
Exactly. Yeah, use your imagination.
Good
I
point.
think that's important. That's important.
Hmm.
That was always
Well,
the cool part about wrestling was like they just gave you enough of these characters when I was a kid. They just gave you enough that you just wanted to know more and know more about them. You
sure.
know, then that's why the promos were so pivotal back then. That's why, the guys that did have characters or
Yep.
gimmicks or, like it made you want more. You didn't give away too much.
Sure.
But
Speaking of
anyway,
character development, like right now, so the thing that gets me, and I'm going to go ahead and give this whole podcast up this week on YouTube in full to try to get you guys a taste of what you're going to get if you subscribe to our Patreon for the entire podcast. And we've got like 170 in the can. But what I was going to say, what the hell I was going to say is like you said, uh, our characters, the characters that are developing. The first thing we have is this, and this is an ingredient. It's obvious. It's apparent to you guys, to me through you guys, because of all the YouTube subscribers and the views. The wrestling is there, but see, my opinion is, and things you have to have your wrestling there first, then you fuck with characters. You know, so that being said, like him or not, a good example of character development right now is Marcus the Science Smith.
oh yeah, yeah.
So what I'm going to do, or we're going to do, is post his. Do you want to go ahead and describe his entrance from Gaga to Joke before he wrestles? Just
Why
because.
don't you do it? Why don't you do it?
Okay, so he comes to the ring and the music is good. It's not copyright, so we can show you his entrance on YouTube and
It's
still
game show
monetize.
music. It's
Yeah,
game
it
show
sounds
music.
like game show music. Like the sound is annoying.
Yeah,
Now,
that's perfect.
here's like Marcus's real personality. Uh, uh, on appearance, like you ask him seriously. This is way before we came up with any of the stuff, or came up with any of the stuff. I believe I'm delightful, yeah, and you laugh because you're like delightful. Who even uses that word that's under 60 today? you know,
I think I'm delightful.
yeah, like who would even think of referring to themselves like that, which is like special. But that's the bottom line is he's just an extension of his actual real self. So he tells, I don't even think they're as good as dad jokes. And but the
No.
thing is, this guy really thinks they're funny.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
the important part.
Yeah. So in a sense, he really does elevate himself in intelligence. And the bottom line is, he is pretty smart for a young guy. He's got a fucking master's, at least one. You know, which elevates you. But he's well spoken. You
Well,
know.
this is what I tell the guys that the reason why he's starting to get better and why the gimmick is working is because it's not a gimmick, it's just an extension of himself. He's not trying to play a character.
No, it's what he would do if he could get away with it in any setting. If he could get away with
But
it,
I
he,
just feel like this is the Marcus Smith with the dial turned up to 20.
yeah. You like you guys
You
got
know,
to.
it's him, it's an extension of himself. You know, it's him,
Yeah.
but it's just cranked way up, which that's how it should be. That's why
And
it
it's
works.
gold. It's gold. You know? But
Yeah.
anyway, the point I'm trying to make is because of today's culture, we'll get as many, if not more, views from his entrance and the threat. He claims that he and if it's true or not, in his mind, he's got himself convinced that he's so smart. He rigged up his trunks like a goddamn airbag in a car, and he pulls the
Hmm.
ripcord, which is the drawstring, and we're just it's an ass parade. Last week
Yeah.
we used the term assapalooza, and if
He
you
tw-
don't
and he got
laugh,
on his head. He got on his hand. He did a headstand and twerked in the corner.
that would be a wall twerk. The kids call it a wall twerk
Yeah,
today.
wall twerk, wall twerk. He was wall twerking in the corner.
But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I can show his entrance and his I guess promo and get as many views as I can from the wrestling because the attention span and all that today, you know.
Hmm.
And that's what we're doing, like the roster in its entirety now. Like I said, I'm not kidding when I say it. I know that because you affirm it. You won't affirm everything that I say or all my ideas, which is why it's good to have you have input. But when I said that Jose Acosta is within the top 20 performers, wrestlers in the world today, you said, yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
think so.
And, you know, now that he's got that down, he's got to develop his character. Same thing with Sam,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
then we've got a
Yeah.
lot of young guys in there that are coming along working with those guys, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
looking forward to tomorrow night. It's actually Friday, and it sucks out. Have you been outside today yet?
Yeah, it's pretty crappy.
Fucking horrible. It's in the 20s, and
Yeah,
it's
it's supposed to
dark.
warm up on Sunday,
To what?
like mid 40s.
Beepers. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that tag team match tomorrow night. Jay Leone
Yeah,
versus
me too, me too, me too.
yeah, they're coming along. They're coming along real good. They're coming along at great pace. They give a shit about their match quality.
Yeah.
You
I
know, they've
gotta,
got
I gotta find somebody that's gonna have to step in and film because I don't know. Last few weeks I've been hanging out in the back talking to these guys before their matches and stuff. I think it's helped.
keep them in that gorilla position. You stay there, you be gorilla.
Yeah,
And that wasn't the only thing. It wasn't gorilla's only job to say go. His job was what you just said. He's the
yeah.
last line of defense before your match.
Well, even too, just sometimes I feel like yeah, I feel like some of these guys are not quite as nervous. Some of them because I kind of sit back there and also know when to bullshit with them to take the edge off.
Yeah, all that shit. That gorilla did that
Oh, you
stuff.
know what I'm saying? Just
A hundy,
uh,
a hundy.
but
It's like,
yeah, I need to.
but yeah. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that. And Charlie Hustle, you know that's a conundrum because he does all these moves and the movements and the way he moves, and you guys like that type of move set, but in the same token, he's a good complement. Again, like you said, Bobby and Dennis, like
Yeah,
he's the yin to Marcus's yang.
yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I do too, and the people seem to be liking it too.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like, that's work too, but not really. I just feel like when you have two guys that are too similar, doesn't work.
No.
You got to have, there has to be, I can't think of the word, but, there has to be a conflict of styles within the team, even,
Yep, that ends up complementing each other.
Well, it's the same thing with a match. Like, you have two guys out there that are too similar. That's always the shits. You want to have two guys that are different. Like when you have a guy out there, that's what people think styles make a match, or like they say in boxing, styles make the fight. I get the same thing in wrestling. People are like, oh man, if these two guys got together, they'd have the greatest match. But then sometimes it's because they're too similar. It's always been the best matches are between guys that it's the conflict of styles. I always thought.
Well, I remember the last
Like you always
time.
wanted to see what the shooter could do against the brawler, or the big guy could do against, the smaller guy, or and it's like, well, man, I can't wait till these two. I don't know. I feel like sometimes to me, from a storytelling point, I feel like the conflict and the contrast in personalities and styles has always been more exciting. Don't get me wrong. There's been plenty of great matches with guys that are similar. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like real money drawing has always been about, you have these two giant personalities that are totally different and they're going to collide. Yeah. That's what draws money,
Well, and back to what we were saying about something being in real life. So the moon, my godfathers in Memphis were, Junkyard Dog, but he wasn't part of this. He might even, I don't think he was dead yet, but my godfathers down there were Boogie, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, and Robert Fuller. And it was funny because they were talking about kayfabe, blah, blah, blah. So it must have been at least 1990 anyway. I find we were all baby faces and got to ride together, me, Boogie, and Rob. I had gotten my hopes up. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be funny. And it wasn't. You couldn't team Robert and Boogie and draw any money with it. Who's that?
Right.
You. So it was such a letdown. They canceled each other out. There was no continuity.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you said, maybe that's why the Fullers, the Welches, the Jarretts, they never teamed Boogie and Robert.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh man. So have you watched any wrestling since I've seen you last?
Not since you've seen me last. I don't believe so.
How about any podcasts or matches?
I'd have to think. I've been so busy at work, man. When I'm get home, I've had a hard time. I've been just trying to juggle everything. I haven't had much time. This is about the only time I've been able to sit down and just do something.
Have you had booty calls?
I'm actually the only thing that's on the TV right now. I just saw Sonny get shot up in the toll booth on The Godfather. So,
what about this though? Oh, that's so horrible. I love.
That's a great
James
scene.
Caan. James Caan, Santino. Fuck. What about this then? Have you listened to any podcasts?
No, not this week. I haven't had a chance, man. I haven't had a chance.
What I watched just a minute ago was fucking Rick Martel versus Wicked Nick.
Oh, really?
What a fucking match.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I didn't know Nick was in his 50s there. I was thinking 40s, but no. At his last in-ring presence that was still drawing, you can see the fucking house. Nick was in his fucking 50s.
Nick looked 40 when he was in his 20s. He also looked 40 when he was in his 50s and 60s.
Unbelievable, man. And the way that he groomed and they groomed Rick Martel. Today, these guys don't know. They don't have any idea how over Rick was as a babyface. They have a short recollection of the model, maybe. And if they don't, they have a shorter recollection from what they heard from their father or something. But that motherfucker was such a fiery baby.
Yeah, Rick was great, man.
Yeah.
I think, and he could do both. He was an awesome heel.
Oh, he's a great heel.
Which nobody thought he could do. everybody in the office shot that down. He had to basically beg them, like, no, turn me heel. Like, they're like, there's no way you can be a heel.
Are you
Well,
serious? I didn't know that. Tell me more, boss.
yeah, they didn't want to turn. They just like, there's no way that like Vince and Pat, they're like, there's no way they're gonna buy you as a heel. You know,
Huh.
because he is the prototypical baby face. You know, that's how good of
Yeah.
a baby face he is.
Good
They
looking
just never
kid.
saw Vince just never saw it, and then Rick did it, and he's like, oh wow,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
I would put Martel in my top 10.
yeah. I mean, man, there's a lot of guys. I don't know. Yeah, I'd put him in my top 20 probably.
And if you go back to drawing, yeah, I guess I'm going to say you're right, 20. But if
Maybe
you
not
go,
drawing.
well, no. If you go back to drawing, prior to the rock and roll, to the Midnight Rocker, Sean and Marty, him on top with that belt was drawing houses. It
Yeah,
was one of the.
yeah,
It was probably the last singles, the last most important single performer for Vern.
sure,
You
sure.
know.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, you're right. Top 20 because I sometimes I speak too soon because I think about other guys. But anyway, yeah, him versus Nick was outstanding, and it had been done so many times, and was one of those last long-standing feuds in a territory where it was just a heel and a baby and two guys trying to win a match, trying to
Yeah.
win a belt, trying to keep a belt.
As far as in ring guys, like we'll just say in ring workers,
Yeah.
or wrestlers, I would probably put Nick in my top 10.
Oh, Nick,
I'd
and
put
you know
Nick.
what I love too, man, which I never realized before is when I listen to the Briscoe and Bradshaw and they have the old timers on, I'm talking, your egomaniacs, God bless Watts, and even fucking Ricky Steamboat, Jerry Jarrett, and Greg, they all make mention of how good Rick was. I mean,
Yeah.
Nick was. Even Watts,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
As
Nick
far
knocked
as
him out.
like favorite guys I like to watch in the ring, I can tell you right now, Lawler and Nick are probably on the very top of my list.
Amazing storytellers.
I think as far as just, I think Lawler, he's hard to beat, man. He's hard to beat
Oh,
because I like,
Codfish.
just as far as my personal preference,
Yes.
just the believability and the selling and the promos and the storytelling. And
Every
man,
fucking week.
there's not many people better than Jerry Lawler.
Dude,
It's tough.
every week they did it. We did it.
He was so good. He's still, I think he's finally getting, he has gotten some of the credit he deserves, but I think he's still wildly underrated.
Is he Hall of Fame yet?
Oh, surely is. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he is.
You think Dennis
But
Condrey will ever be in the WWE
I
Hall of
don't
Fame?
know. Did they put the Midnight Express in? I'm not sure.
If they did, it was probably Bobby and
Yeah, but they'll put everybody in though. Then they do that with some of the other
you
teams
know
or something.
the only time they do it is like honoring Mil Messier Mill, but that
Yeah,
was
I know.
because they were trying to push his nephew. The only
They
one that
put,
was weird to me that didn't have anything on it to benefit them was Abdullah.
yeah.
Usually, what they do, it usually has something to it, leading into something.
I know they put Ricky and Robert in. I don't know if they put the Midnight Express in.
They were undeniable, right?
Who, Ricky and Robert?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's not even a WWF Hall of Fame. It's like a wrestling Hall of Fame now because there's so many guys that, you know, it should just be the wrestling Hall of Fame because there's so many guys that didn't really work for Vince that end up in it.
Yeah. No, and that should be. I think that adds to it. Do they know? They don't pick now who's going in this year, did they?
I have no idea. I don't know when they do that. WrestleMania's in March, so probably after the first of the year.
I know what I want to ask you. When you were on their roster, did you have to attend the Hall of Fame ceremonies?
Yeah. I went to them. Yeah,
How many did you go to?
two or three.
Okay. Do
Don't
they sell
remember.
tickets to that too?
Oh yeah, they sell tickets to that. Shit, they sold out. They sell out a. They do a better house than they do for Raw.
I didn't know
No,
that.
seriously, they do it in a building. They do it in a regular arena. I think they sell. I think we sold more tickets than to the actual TV taping.
Did you? Are you expected to come dressed
Or
to the
maybe how'd
nines?
that work? How'd that work?
I don't know.
Now they might do it on the same day. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember how it worked, but it was full.
So as someone being on the WWE roster, is it a formal event? Are you expected to wear a tie and a jacket?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I think so. I don't remember. I did anyways, but I
Yeah.
don't remember if it was mandatory. I
Was
think
there
they went.
food or horse divorce?
I think they had catering. Yeah,
Okay. Was the
I think
catering
they had.
open to the fans? No.
No, it's just for the like in the back. I think it's they had catering like they did for television. I think.
Okay. Okay. For the boys.
Yeah,
Who's your most memorable in-person Hall of Fame speech or acceptance speech?
probably Ric Flair's was pretty cool.
Oh, you were there for Flair's?
Hmm. Yeah,
Well,
that was this return. Remember, he worked Sean that retirement angle.
vaguely.
Yeah, that. Well, I was. That was at Mania, and the night before he got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and then put over Sean for his retirement or whatever.
Well, that's a cool thing to be able to say you were at live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Um. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking it home now, Casey.
Yeah, let's take it home. We've been on for an hour. I got to get going.
So let me just do the pimping. Let me ask you. I had another. I can't remember what the question was. It was something funny. Oh,
Ask it.
booty call. Have you had another booty call since the last one?
I haven't had any. What are you talking about?
I heard that your home has a weird odor to it, and it's not
Hey,
mistletoe and.
you're putting this up on YouTube, dude? Come on.
All right, so back. All right, I'm just gonna pimp. That was great, dude. You just Dennis Conried me, kinda.
Let's go. I gotta go. I gotta go to work.
Okay. So don't forget, this is the podcast. I mean, I know you hear a lot of it, but this is just us, unscripted, just being us. It's entertaining. It's funny. The whole thing's going up this week, and we want you to subscribe to our Patreon, and don't forget our shirts, our merchandise, Premier Pro Wrestling tees, Pivot Share. Some of y'all are comfortable with Pivot Share, more comfortable with Pivot Share than you are Patreon. If you can
Yeah.
attend the live events, you're going to see the hardest working guys, I think, anywhere in the industry on Saturday nights. Soon we're going to be doing Fridays too, but we'll let you know about that. And I stand with CM Punk, or I stand with Punk, Mere Pro Wrestling on Red Bubble. Casey, it's been an honor or privilege.
Of course.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. Bye bye.
Baboo to you. Baboo to you.